Right now, Bitcoin is flashing a massive signal, and we need to be talking about what's going to be happening next. As you can see on the screen, the MACD's ticked bearish, so we need to be talking about the implications of this. I have a lot of different charts and I have a lot of different data points actually ready for you guys, so we can be talking about what's likely to be happening next in the short term and also the longer term. And of course, I'm going to be talking about altcoins, and I'm going to be covering Ethereum also, and we're going to be talking about what's going to be happening here. So with that being said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight away into this banger. Bow. So on a monthly time frame, this is the second month now in a row that Bitcoin's flashing a sell signal on the MACD. You can see that the MACDs have actually ticked bearish and angled towards the downside with the histogram red. So this is a massive signal indicating that we're potentially going to be following through in this rising wedge, and we're going to be continuing to break towards the downside in towards a bear market. And of course, last time that this happened back in 2022, we actually had a prolonged bear market in towards the end of 2022 and in towards 2023. So right now, it is likely that we've actually started a bear market, and of course, this can actually reverse. It is possible that this MACD can flip back to bullish, but it's going to be extremely hard, and we're going to be needing to see something very substantial from Bitcoin, perhaps even new all-time highs to see this actually flip around, which in my opinion is unlikely. So I do think that this is actually signaling on the higher time frames that we're going to be seeing a bear market. Now, like we've been talking about on the previous few videos, not to repeat myself too much, but of course, you can see that it is likely we're going to be testing the 50-week moving average, just like we did in 2021, 2017, and 2014. Once we lost the 50-week moving average, shortly after, we actually had a retest of it, and then that's where we actually entered the bear market, and we've seen a massive move towards the downside. I do think it's likely Bitcoin comes up in towards 100k level, and we do actually test this 50-week moving average, and then that's where we're actually going to be seeing a move towards the downside. So once we do test it, I do think it's going to be a great opportunity to be taking a short position. I do have my account ready right now so that we can actually be taking that short position. So you can see I have 50k ready to actually be shorting this move. So if you want to be trading as well, I'm going to be trading on WEEX, which is the best exchange in my opinion. So if you want to be trading with WEEX, that's the first link down below. You can be getting a 25% fee discount and also a $300, and that's the cheapest fees that you can be getting on any exchange in crypto. So this is one of the best exchanges to be using if you're trading a lot. And of course, you can see right here that you can also get another 20% on your deposit once you actually deposit onto the exchange. So that's a 20% deposit bonus for you guys. You can see the examples here. For example, if you deposit $2,000 and trade 200k, you get a $400 bonus on top. So make sure to be using that first link down below for WEEX for a 25% fee discount, and of course that 20% deposit bonus. Now, looking at the short-term price action for Bitcoin, we can observe that every time that we actually make a higher high in this downtrend, it actually led to us making lower lows. We did not hold a higher low in this trend so far, so we've had quite a few fake outs already, and we're testing a yearly open and we're slowly rejecting right now. So if it's not possible that we can't actually start to head up higher, I do think that we can come a bit deeper in towards the 88s for a higher low, and then potentially if we can hold this 87/88k level, then it's possible that that could be a higher low, and we can actually see some strength in towards Bitcoin, and maybe you could form some sort of a trend line here to actually track that. So I do think that that's the next level for Bitcoin. If we can't actually hold this yearly open and blast above, I do think we can come back down to 87s to 88s before making another higher low potentially if we're going to shift this trend, and that may look like this on the higher time frame. So of course, if we actually make that higher low and higher high, we can actually start to push in towards the 50-week moving average like we talked about, and then that's where we can potentially reject, and that's where we could be taking our trade. Now, looking at Bitcoin on that weekly time frame, you can see right now that the stochastic RSI is actually oversold, and it's now ticked bullish, and it's actually looking for some expansion towards the top side. So again, this is a reason why we can see a relief rally in towards our 50-week moving average, and from there it's likely we can come down. So of course, this is one thing that we're going to be looking at. This is one thing that I do think is going to be happening. I do think that the stochastic RSI is going to be ticking towards the upside, and then that's where we're going to be getting that relief rally. On our 2-week time frame, we can also see that we're holding this diagonal support level, so a bounce is actually likely. And of course, we can already observe that the big Phoenix whales were actually going long massively, and every time they've done this, it's marked a local bottom. So right now, it is possible that we get that relief rally into the 50-week moving average, and then we can see if we can reject from there, or if there's something else we need to be looking at. So just to reiterate, just like I've done on my previous videos, I've actually talked about the timing cycles, and you can see right now that if we actually track the Bitcoin halvings shown by the orange dotted lines, we can see right now by the green bars that we've actually hit the timing target, and we're actually now due to actually come towards the downside in towards a bear market. So I don't think that this cycle is going to be any different from the previous cycles. So it's likely we can actually come down once actually we get some lower time frame confirmations. For example, if we actually continue to see this 50-week moving average being retested, just like we did previously, and then we come down, I think that that's the most likely scenario. So as for Ethereum, we're also oversold on the stochastic RSI, so it is likely we get a bounce. And of course, right now you can see that we had a upgrade on Ethereum. So previously we had the Pectra upgrade. This time it's the Fusaka upgrade. And when we had the Pectra upgrade, we actually pumped about 50%. So it's likely we can actually pump this time, and the percentage is likely to be around maybe 20% or so from the bottom over here. And of course, we can actually pump in towards the bull market support band, since we're already reclaiming a 50-week moving average. So I do think that the bull market support band will be an interesting level for Ethereum before we can actually move towards the downside. But of course, it's going to be dependent on what Bitcoin does. But if we actually look at horizontal levels for Ethereum, it is a very, very key level right here, the bull market support band. So I do think that Ethereum can actually rally in towards this level, which is at 3,900, and then that's where we can be getting a move towards the downside. Now, as for your altcoins, we are QT ending literally on Monday, so of course it is likely now that we're going to be waiting for QE to start before we get an altcoin season. That could take a matter of months, and it could actually lead us into the next cycle. So we may have to actually wait throughout the whole bear market before we start to see QE actually happening. So this is one thing that I'm going to be paying attention to in a longer time frame, and I don't think that's going to be happening so quickly. We may actually see the curve for the Federal Reserve total assets actually flatten out a bit more before actually increasing, and then that's why we're going to be seeing, the Bitcoin dominance come down. So that'll be it for me. Make sure to be following me on X to be staying up to date with all my updates, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a blessed rest of your day. Peace, guys. See ya. Bye bye.